I don't know why, but I always loved the Audi brand. The Audi RS6 for many, many years, probably for decades, was my favorite car. RS4, RS6, absolutely loved them, was my dream car. Wanted to own one of those, never did. They were too expensive out of my ability to emotionally justify paying that kind of money for a car, but I love them. Now Audi is honestly, unfortunately, it's not itself. It's crumbling. Audi is it's heading towards a position where it's going to be saying the same thing as Porsche. Our business model does not work. That's word for word what Porsche said last week. Audi will be saying the same thing. Their profits are crumbling. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. If you haven't already joined the channel as a member, I'd encourage you to do so. I really appreciate your support. I'll put a link in the description below. Audi, well, the news, it's not good. Profits plummeted by 38% in the first half of the year. Audi are blaming high import issues with, they don't make cars in the United States. They've got to ship them from Europe to the US. They're saying Trump's tariffs are the reason for this, but the truth is Audi's profits were plummeting well before Trump's tariffs came along. With the figures for the first half of the year, concerns about the Volkswagen Group's former margin generating, they used to make a lot of money per car, former margin generating company are growing even more acute by the day. Audi generated a profit of only 1.3 billion euros, a slump of 38% compared to the first half of 2024. The operating return on sales after the first half of the year is 3.3%. That's so razor thin that company executives are wondering if they'll even be making a profit by the end of the year. In the same period last year, Audi's numbers were considered really bad at 6.4%. They've halved. Bad 6.4%. I mean, considering they were at 15% not long ago, down to 6.4, now down to 3.3. Halve that again, where you're at 1.7. What's after that? What's next? Following the recently announced sales figures for the first half of the year, in which Audi suffered a 6% decline in worldwide sales to 784,000, weak financial results were expected. A slump of this magnitude is nevertheless shocking, says German media. Audi's annual forecast has basically now been cancelled. Not basically, it has been. In light of the weak first half of the year, Audi has withdrawn its forecast for the full year 2025. It now expects revenue of only 65 to 70 billion for the whole year. That's 2.5 billion less than originally planned. But revenue is one thing, profits are entirely another story. The manufacturer has revised its return target. Instead of 7 to 9%, it's now saying 5 to 7%. That seems unlikely considering the first half of the year, though. In its half-year report, Audi cites weak sales figures in China being the biggest burden, plus the tariffs in the USA and the ongoing restructuring of the company as the major reasons for its misery. Now, looking at these numbers, I just don't see how Audi can turn this around. Cash flow is shrinking literally by the month. The problem markets, where are they? Well, in China, where Audi is struggling to gain a foothold in the important electric car market, vehicle sales have fallen by 10.2% for Audi in the first half of the year, which is pretty good compared to Porsche, which fell by 27%, and Mercedes-Benz, which fell by about 27% as well. In the USA, where the premium brand, like its sister brand Porsche, is suffering from a lack of total production, of local production, the decline was 19.4% for Audi. In the US, Audi has not passed on the 25% tariffs that have been in effect since April to customers. So Audi doesn't pass on the cost of the tariffs, the 25% cost, right? It takes a hit and its sales still fall by 20%. That's crazy. The agreement now reached between the US and Europe on a 15% import tariff is likely to provide only limited relief. And honestly, really, it's barely going to make a difference. It has already been factored into the current valuation according to the half-year report. Bentley, they're also really struggling. And Bentley is another one of the Volkswagen Group brands. The challenging market conditions are also becoming apparent at Bentley, the luxury subsidiary of the Audi Group. Vehicle sales at Bentley fell by 11% to 4,876 sales. And operating profit plummeted from 261 million to 81 million. 261 million euros in the first 6 months of last year. First 6 months of this year, it's only 81 million. So profits have crashed by 65%. Return on sales, well, that's crashed as well. Bentley's margins went from 17% last year to only 6.9%. Just a few weeks ago, the British luxury brand presented a preview of its revised brand logo. I don't think anyone cares, to be honest, and a fully electric concept car with a new design. The market didn't really react, to be honest. Another Volkswagen Group brand, Ducati, reported a decline in sales and in earnings in the first half of the year. Sales figures by 5.7% to 30,000 motorcycles. As a result, sales fell from 458 to 431 million euros, and the return on sales fell from 15 to 9%. This is the case for many Volkswagen Group brands over the past 6 months. Getting back to Audi, the US tariffs that were increased in spring alone, Audi say cost them 600 million euros in the first half of this year. Now, is Audi going to get any relief from these tariffs? Well, they're going from 25% down to 15%. But considering Audi sales are shrinking rapidly in the United States, even though they're not passing on the tariff costs at all, it seems that Audi has some major problems with demand. It's not just profits per car sold, it's actually selling cars in the first place. The automaker's sales also shrank in the first half of the year, but one of the reasons that Audi is facing major challenges is because of the intense price competition coming from many brands. You know, we've talked about how in China there's a bloodbath. Literally, that was a comment made by the CEO of Xiaopeng or Xpeng, referring to the intense price wars. But that bloodbath is kind of starting to extend outside of China as well. You can see margins falling in the US, in Europe. Margins are falling for these car brands. They're falling everywhere. And this trend, I don't think it's about to reverse anytime soon. So unless some miracle happens or something drastic changes, or Audi follows through with firing 7,500 people in Germany to reduce costs, then I don't see what Audi can do to resurrect the business. Will my favorite or former favorite car brand survive past 2030 or 2035? Well, I think it probably will, but it'll just be a completely different business and unfortunately likely a shell of itself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Thanks for watching.